This is the Tom Bigby Tales. I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This episode is titled The Last Dance at White Arches, a Southern Belles Ball. In the twilight of the antebellum era, White Arches stood as one of Columbus, Mississippi's most impressive mansions. Built in 1857, its distinctive octagonal tower, ornate cast-iron balconies, and sweeping verandas epitomized the grandeur of Southern architecture. The mansion boasted 15-foot ceilings, imported crystal chandeliers, and hand-carved mahogany staircase that spiraled gracefully between its three stories. On this particular fateful January evening in 1861, as tensions between the North and the South reached their breaking point, White Arches hosted what would become a legendary social event. The mansion's ballroom sparkled with hundreds of beeswax candles and sterling silver holders. Ladies floated in hooped silk gowns and Belgian lace. Confederate officers in newly pressed gray uniforms attended to the ladies. Crystal punch bowls were filled with syllabub and brandy-laced eggnog. This was to be a send-off for the boys and a means to cheer up the daughter of the Harrises, Mary Oliver, who was so depressed over the idea of war. Mary Oliver Harris, daughter of prominent General William Harris, allegedly made her society debut that evening. Witnesses described her as wearing an ivory silk gown with buttons made of pearl. Her dark hair was arranged with orange blossoms and white ribbons. She danced every set of the Virginia Reel and the Cotton Ball Waltz. She was described as particularly elegant during the Grand March. Legend states that after hours of dancing and socializing, Mary sought solitude on one of White Arches' iron balconies. The temperature that night was declared to have dropped to an unusually cold 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and her thin ball gown offered little protection. What followed was a rapid decline. Her initial symptoms appeared within days, and the family physician diagnosed severe pneumonia. Traditional remedies like mustard plasters proved ineffective, and her condition worsened despite round-the-clock care. She was said to have died pining for the boys who left for war and the horrific chill she took. Now, Mary's story has become intertwined with the larger narrative of the Civil War's impact on Southern society. While the above story is sweet and rather melodramatic, Mary Oliver did not die until 10 months after that party, possibly from diphtheria, maybe typhus, scarlet fever, or even smallpox that was making the rounds at that time. Certainly not from pining in the cold at a debutante debut party. She was a little old at 20 for a debut party. Truthfully, it was a giant send-off party for the Columbus Riflemen and a means of raising funds for them by bringing all the who's who of the town together. Nevertheless, Mary died November 2nd, 1862. Her funeral notice, preserved at White Arches, reads in part, "Dear daughter and sister, we think of thee still." While White Arches continues to draw visitors interested in both its architectural significance and its poignant history, the mansion features Mary's room, her diary, and some personal effects. Now, I want you to historically note that while the core events are documented, some details, of course, have been enhanced through oral tradition and local folklore to create a fuller narrative of this significant historical moment. But it does not negate the truth of the matter, which was Mary didn't die because of being exposed to the cold at that party. She died almost a full year later in November of 1862. Thank you for coming on my podcast, The Tom Bigby Tales. Until next time.